EU and Beijing heading for collision over China's COVID crisis. Poor hydration may be linked to early aging and chronic disease. Record number of millionaires betting against stock market in 2023. US FCC applauds India for banning TikTok. Ukraine-EU summit will take place on February 3rd. Jeremy Renner in critical but stable condition after accident. AI to rule at CES 2023 Gadget show in Las Vegas. The Ghanaian giant is the world's tallest man.
Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It is Wednesday, January 4th, and here are your top stories. The EU and China on Tuesday moved closer to a political standoff over the COVID-19 crisis, with Beijing vehemently rejecting travel restrictions some EU nations have started to impose that could expand in the coming days. As the 27-nation bloc move closer to imposing some sort of restrictions on travelers from China, Beijing threatens countermeasures. Still, the EU seems bent on taking some sort of joint action to ensure incoming passengers from China would not transmit any potential new variant to the continent.
As travel to and from China resumes, so too are COVID testing requirements on Chinese visitors entering Australia.
A special EU Health Security Committee joining representatives from the EU member nations discussed potential measures Tuesday. And EU spokesman Tim McPhee said that the overwhelming majority of countries are in favor of pre-departure testing in China, fearful not to be caught unawares like at the outset of the global pandemic in early 2020. The EU Integrated Political Crisis Response Group is now set on Wednesday to decide whether to impose EU-wide entry requirements from China.
According to a new study from the U.S. National Institute of Health, adults who aren't sufficiently hydrated may age faster, face a higher risk of chronic diseases, and be more likely to die younger than those who stay well hydrated. The findings suggested that people with blood sodium concentration levels at above 144 millimoles per liter were 50% more likely to show signs of physical aging beyond what would be expected for their years compared to people with lower blood sodium levels.
The human body has a built-in mechanism of telling us when we need to drink water.
The study participants all had blood sodium concentrations considered to be within the normal range, 135 to 146 millimoles per liter. The study found even people with blood sodium levels above 142 millimoles per liter had elevated risks of developing certain chronic diseases, including heart failure, stroke, chronic lung disease, diabetes, and dementia. However, Dr. Lawrence Appel at Johns Hopkins University warned the NIH study doesn't prove that drinking more water will prevent chronic disease.
According to the CNBC Millionaire survey, 56% of millionaires investors anticipate that the S&P 500 will decline by 10% in the new year, and nearly a third anticipate slippage of more than 15%. However, more than half of the millennial millionaires said the S&P 500 will be up 10% or more in the new year. The CNBC survey found that 81% of millennial millionaires expected their assets to be greater at the end of next year, with 46% anticipating their assets to be up 10% or more.
By the end of 2019, it was perceived that whatever one buys, it doubles in no time. So, the bubble busted.
The media said that haven't been this bearish about the economy since 2008, during the height of the Great Recession. Inflation is a main driving factor which has been so untenable that it's even got millionaires in a tizzy over whether they will have enough to retire. Along with inflation, rising interest rates have some millionaires delaying big purchases, including homes and cars. Moreover, fears over a long talked about recession are also at play. Typically, when a recession is on the horizon, the stock market spirals.
The US FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr said India set an incredible important precedent by banning TikTok in 2020 as he projected a similar fate for the Chinese giant ByteDance app in the US. He warned that TikTok operates as a sophisticated surveillance tool and said that banning the social app is a natural next step in our efforts to secure communication networks. Carr said, "We need to follow India's lead more broadly to weed out other nefarious apps as well."
Behind TikTok dances and the viral pranks, FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr says a national security danger is lurking.
New Delhi said that it had banned the apps because they pose threats to the national security and defense of India, which ultimately impinges upon the sovereignty and integrity of India. Carl said that they are increasingly growing cautious of TikTok, which has amassed over 100 million users in the US. India has banned hundreds of apps with affiliation to China in the past 2 years, including TikTok, PUBG Mobile, Battlegrounds Mobile India, and UC Browser, due to skirmishes at the border of the two neighboring nations.
Struck 它是 strike 这动词的过去式 ，strike a deal 就是签。
学习，享受一个人的美好时光。FUNDAY 英语。
In an interview with the Ukraine Foreign News Agency on January 2nd, the head of the European Union delegation to Ukraine, Mati Masikas, said the EU leaders will discuss Ukraine's membership application at the next EU-Ukraine summit. The media reported that the European Council previously stated the Ukraine-EU summit would take place on February 3, 2023. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been invited to the meeting. On June 23, 2022, EU leaders supported granting EU candidate status to Ukraine and Moldova at the EU summit in Brussels.
Aérien qui devient plus commun, des coopérations dans le secteur de la
Masikas said that Ukraine was given the prospect of becoming a member of the EU thanks to the historic June decision of the European Council. According to EU policy, enlargement strategies serve as a geostrategic investment in Europe's security, prosperity, and stability. During a government meeting on December 30th, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said that Ukraine's strategic task is to meet the criteria for joining the European Union by late 2024.
The Washoe County Sheriff's Office in Renner has confirmed on Sunday that Jeremy Renner is in critical but stable condition with injuries suffered after experiencing a weather-related accident while plowing snow. Surgeon Christy Vietti of Washoe County Sheriff said that police responded to a traumatic injury in the area of Mount Rose Highway in Reno, Nevada. At 9 a.m. on New Year's Day, Mr. Jeremy Renner was transferred via care flight to a local area hospital. Mr. Renner was the only involved party in the incident.
Jeremy Renner, a two-time Oscar nominee, is the star of the returning Paramount Plus series The Mayor of Kingstown and Marvel's Hawkeye series on Disney Plus, as well as the Avengers and Captain America films. According to the Reno Gazette-Journal, Renner has a home in the area, near Mount Rose Ski Tahoe, about 25 miles from Reno. The region saw a winter storm hit on New Year's Eve that resulted in 35,000 homes across northern Nevada's Washoe, Carson, Douglas, Story, and Leon counties losing power.
The latest leap in artificial intelligence in everything from cars, robots to appliances will be on full display at the annual Consumer Electronics Show, CES, opening in Las Vegas this week. CES, which officially opens on January 5th, is expected to feature next-generation cars, trucks, boats, farm equipment, and even flying machines. Virtual reality headgear is also expected to again feature prominently. Meta will be allowing guests to try its latest Oculus Quest virtual reality headset.
Analysts said gadgets or services pitched as being part of the next generation of the Internet, or Web3, are expected to include mixed reality as well as blockchain technology and NFTs. The media said although the show is unabashedly devoted to consumerism, the environment will also be a theme, from gadgets designed to scoop trash from waterways to apps that help people reduce energy use. A lot of companies are eliminating plastic from packaging and shifting to biodegradable materials.
According to a BBC report, a local hospital in northern Ghana told 29-year-old Sulemana Abdul Samid, also known as Owichi, during one of his recent visit checkups, that he had reached the height of 9 feet 6 inches, which is the equivalent of 2.89 meters. Currently, 40-year-old Sultan Kosen, who lives in Turkey, holds the Guinness World Record for height with 8 feet 2.8 inches tall. If measurements of Owichi's staggering statures are true, they would make him the tallest man in the world.
I'm going tall, up to an expectation. By then,
Diagnosed with gigantism a few years ago, the young man was attending a monthly appointment to deal with the complications of living as a giant, better known to everyone by his nickname Awushi, which means let's go in Hausha. He was not surprised to hear he was taller, given he has never stopped growing. When local nurses measured him with a scale that was not tall enough, they found a pole and used it as an extension to arrive at their estimate of his height.
FUNDAY News will help sharpen your English skills while keeping you informed on current international events. Tune into our other FUNDAY programs to learn more about the world's most important topics in English. Click the link below now to join FUNDAY for free. I'm Wade Lee, your host. I'll see you next time.